Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy LVS Void coming in here with What If Naruto Was Doma from Demon Slayer. This could be a major spoiler for the anime watchers of Demon Slayer, so just be warned of that. Well, this actually is a big spoiler, but anyway, let's just get right into it. We begin this what if with the birth of Naruto. When Naruto was born, he had a notably pale complexion, and his hair appeared to be a pale golden blonde. His eyes would be described as incredibly rare and beautiful, as in color they appeared to be both made up of an array of rainbow pastel tones that faded into one another, creating circles, another as they circle his irises. Both Minato and Kushina's breath was taken away at the sight of the beautiful baby that was in front of them, and it looked like a sign of God was on Naruto's side. But we all know what's going to happen next. With Obito arriving, otherwise known as Madara Uchiha, he swoops in and takes the baby Naruto, telling Minato to give him the Nine-Tails Shinchuriki as a trade for his newborn son. Minato, as usual, would save Naruto, but in turn, Kushina would be taken and the Nine-Tails would be extracted from her and would be placed in a summoning pact and would then be summoned in the middle of the village. Both Obito and Minato would have to fight, and Minato would go on to seal the Nine-Tails. Unlike the original Minato, Minato would then seal the full Nine-Tails into Naruto, believing that because he is an Uzumaki and he has trust in the 8 trigram seal, it should still work and hold the Nine-Tails in its full capability of its chakra. After this all happens, both Minato and Kushina would die, orphaning their newly born son Naruto on the day of his birth. We have a time skip of 4 years. Naruto is now 4 years old and seems to be very sick. This is because of the full Nine-Tails being sealed into Naruto. Its chakra is seeping into his body, causing it to be weakened, and to the point that Naruto can barely walk and function as a normal person, let alone a 4-year-old. The third Hokage, Hiruzen, at this time would have been taking care of Naruto and would often hire a doctor. We'll just call this doctor's name Tom for the time being, who he thought he could trust. But with the sudden talk of Danzo slipping the secret of Naruto's burden to the villagers, who throughout Naruto's life hadn't actually seen Naruto, as he would have been secluded all this time in a hospital bed in his house, as it would have been a much bigger apartment, being an actual size of a house instead of the original. Back with Naruto, the doctor, who we named Tom, was trying to half-heartedly try to cure Naruto, or heal him of his sickness, but on the other hand was also trying to kill the boy, as he as well hates Naruto, as his wife and unborn child died on the night of the attack, as the Kyuubi had killed them. The doctor, who Naruto at this time disliked but never showed anything, was mixing medicine which contained the blue spider lily flower late at night. "Drink this," the doctor said, and Naruto complied. Naruto, throughout his 4 years of life, was smart. Some would even say that it was too smart, as he was always thinking about stuff that adults shouldn't even be thinking of, or wouldn't think of. But while being smart, Naruto was clinically apathetic, being completely emotionless. He compensated this of his empty heart with lies, learning to fake his emotions enough to deceive even those with keen observation skills. After drinking the medicine, Naruto felt a change in his body, something he couldn't explain, and in the blink of an eye, Naruto struck the doctor and began to devour him, leaving no trace of him behind, but a small stain on the carpet. Naruto, coming back to reality, realized that he had just killed someone, but didn't care in the slightest, but was slightly annoyed that after killing the man and eating him, he left a stain on the carpet near his bed. Thinking to himself, why did that man have to bleed on the carpet, and began to clean it. Some insight to Naruto's powers. Due to the Nine-Tails being inside of Naruto, with the combination of the blue spider lily and the medicine being complete by a much smarter type of doctor, The medicine Naruto would have taken, it would have allowed him to be immune to the sun, as it was complete, and because of Naruto's complete control over his body now, because of his demonic body, and the leakage of the Nine-Tails chakra, it wouldn't harm Naruto anymore, but instead, more of the Nine-Tails chakra would be absorbed, and with it taking over half of the Nine-Tails beast's chakra, basically allowing him to have KCM1 strength constantly. But Naruto, who still has complete control of his body, does tune that down to a considerable amount to where he still is strong, but doesn't show it off. He wouldn't have the cloak of the Nine-Tails chakra either. All his chakra would just be circulating in his body, as he has complete control over his chakra, at even more control over his chakra than Tsunade, who appears to have perfect control. The next week, Naruto would tell the Hokage that the doctor had fixed him, and with a gleeful smile would say that he left, saying that his work there was done, and he left the village. But due to the Hokage's wisdom and even his great observation skills, he can see that Naruto is faking that smile, but doesn't say anything about it, as it does seem fake but also real at the same time. But we know that's not true. He's just very good at hiding that emotion. Oh, not hiding it, but faking that emotion. The Hokage says to Naruto that if he's strong enough, that even though he did walk to the Hokage's office, that he can now do things on his own, like walk around the village and start to make connections with others his own age and become friends with them. Naruto, who doesn't really care about connections, as he doesn't really care about anything at all, he does agree to this because he doesn't really have anything else to do at that moment. Naruto now would leave the Hokage's office, waving goodbye to his type of grandfather, who he still has no type of bond to at this point, as he doesn't have anything of love or that type of emotion for the people in general. Walking past the receptionist, he also says goodbye to her, waving, but before the lady there could react to do anything, she sees his beautiful rainbow pastel eyes, and all her hate for the child disappears, as it seems that Naruto looks too angelic to be evil. With Naruto now leaving, he walks around the village, taking in the breathtaking scenes around him, but still, he doesn't really care about anything, as he doesn't have that emotion. As he's walking around the village, he sees the villagers' angry looks directed at him, as the villagers did get a description or type of description from Donzo on what the child looks like, as they had never seen him before walk around the village. While the villagers are looking at him, Naruto does smile, which does confuse a lot of them, as they are directing their hate towards him, but he's smiling? With them getting a closer look at Naruto, they could see his rainbow-colored eyes that looked like they had been given by God himself. And with this, they begin to think, how can this boy who's supposed to be evil look so angelic and good? We'll skip 4 years now with the beginning of the academy. During these 4 years, Naruto's hunger, not only for regular food, as that is gone now from his demonic body, but human flesh started to magnify, and during the night, he would start to prey on the women of the village, mainly the younger women, as he sees them as much more nutritious than anybody else, though he does sometimes feast on other people. Naruto during these years has not been caught. Due to his demon-like body, he's able to hide his presence as from the Anbu patrolling the area, and because Naruto is easily able to devour these victims, as he can quickly absorb them into his body, because he can absorb things in a kind of, you kind of know already. With the beginning of the academy, Naruto is put into the class, with nearly all of the children there being clan heirs. During this time as well, the Uchiha massacre would have happened, and Sasuke would become the brooding Sasuke. As soon as Naruto entered the room, everybody looked at him, and all the girls in the class stared at him with love in their eyes, taking them away from the brooding Sasuke. Naruto, seeing this, smiled, but felt nothing on the inside, as he didn't care about any of the affection being shown to him. The teacher cleared his throat. "Glad you decided to come today. Why don't you take a seat over there?" He instructed, pointing to the empty seat by the window in the second row. Naruto nodded, walking towards the seat and sitting next to a shy girl, whose name was Hinata Hyuga. Naruto could see that she is quite pretty for the young age and is contemplating eating her, but decides not to, as she is pretty, and he could do with something pretty by his side. Once seated, the boy then looked over to the teacher. He wore the Chunin shinobi vest over a tan shirt and black pants. His dark brown hair was in a high ponytail. His most distinguishable features, as long as which was a long scar across his face. His brown eyes scanned the class. Alright, as I said before, you all call me Iruka Sensei. You all know that you're here to learn the basics to the secret ninja arts. In other words, to prepare you to become strong shinobi. So make sure you do your best here, so that you can exceed and become one. He said this while scanning the class of little kids. Let's begin in introducing ourselves. You can tell me your name, your hobbies, likes, dislikes, and your dreams. He smiled as about half the class perked up. I'll call you up by name. We'll start with you. The boy in question smiled largely, as he was getting, well, not really largely, but you kind of get it. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My hobby is helping people that are suffering. I like to train and eat. You get that? I don't like people who judge others, as they are bullies and need to be stopped. And I'm going to become the next Hokage to help those that are lost and suffering. He said this calmly, with Iruka nodding, sensing some eerie feeling from the words that Naruto just said, but doesn't think much of it. All the others would go to how you think they are, with, Sasuke being broody and all the other random ass people. We'll just skip to the end of the day, with Naruto about to leave, but is stopped by all the fangirls asking him many questions. Naruto answers all these with a smile planted on his face, hiding his true feelings towards everybody. Naruto, however, looks towards a pink-haired girl who hasn't started on those, those shitty diets that mess up their body in the original and made her really weak, and can see that her body looks very tasty and nutritious, and he wants to, in his words, save her from the suffering she'll face in this world. As the day ends and night comes around, Sakura was walking home after having dinner with her best friend Ino, but Naruto, who was in alley, called out to her. Not seeing Naruto, but hearing his voice, and also that she does now have a crush on him, follows it and walks directly into the dark alley. And before she could even scream or react, her head rolls off her head, with Naruto catching it, and in his other hand, the fan, which was dripping in blood, drips on the floor. Then, in the next second, Naruto starts to rip off the flesh off her bones and devour her with nothing left to spare. And the next day, reports of Sakura being missing around the village show up, as a lot of other missing people are also showing up on flyers around the village. After a while of this happening, she was reported to be dead, with no traces of her left in the village. Naruto, with him not feeling any emotion, even though he did kill her, doesn't care, but in the class, he does cry, saying how much he did enjoy Sakura's presence and how much she was a great friend to him on his first day in the class. The class in turn then sees Naruto that is as a saint, and the emotion that he's projecting, and that in the very little time that they spent together, he already cares so much about her, and in turn cares so much about the rest of the class. Naruto, in the eyes of the village and classmates, now see him in a saint-like personality, as he does seem to have the rainbow eyes and characteristics as proof that he was a gift from God. After some time, even the third Hokage can't see the truth that Naruto is emotionless, and also sees him as a saint, and someone who was left in this village by Minato to carry on his will of protecting the village and have the will of fire. But there is one person in the whole village who doesn't believe in Naruto's acts. That man being Danzo. This is because Danzo can see the way Naruto acts and believes that Naruto is putting up a front, and that Naruto in fact has no emotion, as He can tell those apart from other things, as what he does to put people in route, taking away their emotion to be a emotionless drone for the village. But he is somewhat frightened of this, as Naruto is doing this on a whole nother level, tricking everyone in the village, even his longtime, friend, Hiruzen, who is a very powerful shinobi, even stronger than him. During the next 4 years of the academy, Naruto shows off his fans in the way that he fights with him, showing great skill in it, as well as showing off his demon blood art, which is cryokinesis, or it's like ice release. Hiruzen puts us up to being a Kikigenkai that Minato might have been when he was orphaned, and that he might have been from the Yuki clan. And Naruto might have gotten these clan Kikigenkai arts from him, who Minato didn't actually get during his lifetime. During the academy, Naruto has also shown absolute skill in his fights, one-shotting anybody who faces him. Not even using his fans, just punching them once but then passing out, with some even being scared to face him and flat out refusing to fight him during the practice training fights. This results in the class and teachers seeing Naruto as a prodigy with great strength and his great intelligence, being that even surpassing Minato and Itachi in grades. We'll now skip to the end of the year, the graduation exams. All those who passed in the original will pass, with the exception of Sakura because, she's dead. But in Naruto's case, Naruto will be able to perform every jutsu perfectly, showcasing perfect chakra control, as well as perform all 3 of the jutsus for the passing exam with ease, and now it has officially become a Genin of the Leaf. After the exam is done and the day rolls to the end, Mizuki, one of the 2 teachers Naruto has come to just see every day, comes up to Naruto, telling him that there actually is an extra part of the exam, and that is to steal the scroll ceiling. Naruto sees the slight twitches in his teacher's face, and the way that his blood rushes around his face as well as his heartbeat, and confirms that he is lying, and agrees with Mizuki, and also thinks that Mizuki might be a tasty meal, as he is a Chunin of the Leaf, and it could be quite tasty, and the fact that he's getting quite hungry and hasn't had a meal in a few days. As time passes and Naruto is waiting in the forest now, and is now meted by Mizuki. Mizuki sees that Naruto does not have the scroll, asks Naruto, or rather yells at Naruto to why he doesn't have it. Mizuki is angry, and in his frustration, thinking of a way to surprise Naruto and try to kill him, tells Naruto the big secret. He tells Naruto that he is the Nine Tails, and that he was the one who attacked the village on the night of the QB attack. Expecting Naruto to freak out and have a dilemma in his head, he is surprised when Naruto tells him that he knows. He smiles, saying, "Of course I know. I've been taking chakra from that beast for the last 8 years, and I've been using it to save the villagers by ending their pathetic lives and allowing them to have peace without suffering or pain." Mizuki, to those words, were horrified, and in an attempt to kill Naruto before anything happens, rushes at him. But in a split second, Naruto opens his fans and releases a frozen lotus and a breeze of cold air that hits Mizuki and blows him back. Naruto, with a devilish smile, says that it's time for him to be saved by himself. But Mizuki, he tries to run away, but stops as blood gushes out of his mouth and eye sockets and collapses on the floor on his knees. He asks Naruto what he did to him and why his body's not responding to him anymore and why he can't breathe, with Naruto responding and telling him that he just breathed in his ice and that it's destroying his lungs and organs as he speaks, all while smiling at the bloodied and dying Mizuki. With Mizuki's last breaths, he tells Naruto, You're a monster." But Naruto retorts, saying, "That's mean, you're just a bully," and then starts to devour him, with no one in the village knowing a thing. Upon graduating the next day, Naruto was required to have his picture taken for identification purposes, and he takes a normal picture with his new clothing to boot. Naruto now wore a blood-red turtleneck of a design that made it appear that the section between his neck and upper chest was covered in a black substance that looked like it was dripping slightly down his body. At the same time, this design repeated on his wrists down to his hands, as well as a small circular blood stain type of thing he adored on his head. Below this, he wore a pair of straight tan-colored I think it's how you say hakama pants of a pinstripe design, with cuffs visibly loose, which he secured with a pale green tight golden belt, its buckle a bright silver. He also wears plain black tabby socks on his feet, with plain black type of dance type of shoes, because they're not like ninja type of shoes, because they'll be like covered, but you can kind of think of what type of shoes you'll have. He is also holding a pair of sharp fans that are made entirely out of shining gold, a lotus design engraved across them, and a green tieback at the base, which acted as his primary weapons. After taking the photo, Naruto talks to the third Hokage, but is interrupted by Konohamaru, and while he's about to trip on his own scarf, Naruto catches him with great speed. Still acting as the saint, as he wants to keep up the act to fill the void of emptiness in his heart, and tells Konohamaru to be careful. Everything else would happen the same, with Ebisu coming into the room and Konohamaru wanting Naruto to teach him something, but he just shags him off. With the graduating students coming back to the academy to get them into their teams, there will be a change. Instead of Sakura, because she's dead, Hinata is placed into Team 7 with Kakashi as their team leader. For Kiba's team, it will just be some fodder ninja that will be put into there. Soon afterwards, the members of Team 7, after a long wait, finally meet their Jonin sensei, who used the meeting as an opportunity for them to get to know one another. Kakashi, who went first, said that he didn't feel like telling them anything about himself. Sasuke asserts himself, saying that he hated a lot of things, didn't like anything, and that someday he'll kill a certain man that wronged him long ago. Hinata would just say something about her clan and wanting to fix it. Kakashi ended the meeting by telling the others that the next day to be in their ninja gear, and advised them not to have breakfast. I forgot to say, Naruto would say the exact same things that he said when introducing himself as in the academy. So that would just be the same. The next day, Kakashi arrives at the training grounds 4 hours later than planned. Kakashi then explains how the evaluation would work. It would be a survival battle, in which the aim was for each of the prospective students to take one of the 2 bells from Kakashi. Anyone who doesn't get the bell before noon will receive no lunch, which as the others realize and why they told them not to have breakfast. Naruto, however, would not have this issue, as he does not really feel hunger for food, and instead human flesh, but he would have been satisfied for his food for the week and wouldn't need any more food at all. I'll also be changing it, Blue Spot. I honestly think that, with Naruto being a demon with the full medicine, he doesn't need to eat people, but he just does it anyway as a food source. So Naruto doesn't even need to eat at all in full perspective. It's just for him to get stronger as the nutrition value in the food or the human flesh. He then explained that because there are only 2 bells, at least one person would fail and return to the academy. He did, however, allow the others to use shuriken if they would like, and informed them that if they would fail if they attempted the mission with anything else with the intent to kill him. Naruto laughed at this suggestion to himself, muttering that there's no way that he can really beat him, with Kakashi or anybody else not really hearing him. With Kakashi starting the timer, Naruto, in one swift motion, before anyone could even move or take their eye off Naruto, the bells would be gone from Kakashi's waist. With the fight for the bells being over before it even started, Naruto gave the two bells both Sasuke and Hinata, who Hinata at this time had already fallen in love with Naruto as for his kind nature, and she had always but for some reason she had always could sense something unusual about him, but didn't pay any mind to it, as she did have this unwavering love for him. With Kakashi not having anything else to say, he passes the team, as the council also wanted him to pass the Uchiha and the saint of the village, Naruto, even if they failed. But in Kakashi's eyes, with Naruto giving the bells away, it somewhat counted as teamwork, and Naruto kind of sacrificing himself for the team, so he passes them, with them being the official Team 7. So that, guys, is where I'm going to leave off part 1. I know this was a little short compared to the other what ifs I do make, but this series will kind of be like a half an hour type situation for each part, as I do want to make like 5 parts for each episode or part of this, as they will be much shorter than my other what ifs. So yeah, do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you did enjoy this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.